Before we begin, find a place where you can be still. You don't need to do anything with this. You don't need to take notes. You don't need to fix yourself or become someone new by the time we're finished. For the next little while, all you have to do is listen. So settle in. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Unclench your jaw. Let your breath slow down on its own without forcing it. Just notice it moving in and out. Tonight, or this morning, or whenever you happen to be hearing this, we're going to walk slowly through 3 quiet truths about the way a life is built. Not tricks, not shortcuts, laws. The kind of principle that works whether you believe in it or not. The same way gravity holds you to the ground whether or not you understand it. The first is the law of thought. The second is the law of change. The third is the law of vision. Take one more slow breath. And let's begin with the ground beneath everything. Everything you have ever built began as a thought. The chair you may be sitting in, the room around you, the device carrying this voice to you right now. Every one of them existed first as a picture in someone's mind, long before it existed in the world. Nothing gets made without first being imagined. And your life is no different. This is the first law. Thoughts become things. What lives in your mind over time tends to take shape in your experience. But there's a piece of this that most people miss, and it's the piece that changes everything. A thought on its own is only half of what matters. Every thought you hold has 2 sides to it. There is the thought itself, the words, the idea, the plan, and then there is the feeling underneath it, the emotion you attach to it, the way it lands in your chest when you think it. You can say the words, "I am worthy of a good life," 1,000 times. But if underneath those words there lives a quiet, aching feeling that you are not, that you don't deserve it, that good things happen to other people, then it is the feeling that shapes your life, not the words. What you truly feel in the deep and private center of yourself is what you attract. Not what you say, not what you post, what you feel. So the real work begins there. Not with your speech, but with your heart. Let that settle for a moment. The thoughts you feed with real feeling are the thoughts that grow. Now, of all the thoughts you carry, there is one that matters more than any other. It's the thought you have about yourself, your self-image. Your self-image is simply the picture you hold, in your own mind, of who you are and what you're worth. And it is not a small thing. It is the vessel that every experience of your life gets poured into. Think of a great vase. Everything that happens to you, every relationship, every opportunity, every setback gets poured into that vase and takes on its shape. If the picture you hold of yourself is small, built out of fear and doubt, and the sense that you are not enough, then everything that flows into your life gets filtered through that smallness. Even good things arrive and somehow shrink. But if the picture you hold is built out of quiet knowledge, out of courage, out of self-respect and faith, then that same life, the very same events, gets filtered through something strong. And you become, in a real sense, a magnet, drawing toward you the people and circumstances that match the way you hold yourself. So where does this picture come from? Why do some people carry a strong one, and others a fragile one? 3 things shape it. The first is what you absorbed early, the thoughts and feelings poured into you when you were very young, long before you could defend yourself against them. A child is like a sponge. Whatever surrounds a child in those first years, encouragement or criticism, warmth or coldness, praise or shame, soaks in and settles at the very bottom and becomes the foundation the rest of the life is built upon. If yours was a good foundation, be grateful. If it wasn't, then there is work to do. But hear this clearly. That foundation can be rebuilt. You are not sentenced to it. The second thing that shapes your self-image is your environment. The place you spend your days quietly confirms the story you tell about yourself. If you carry a low picture of yourself and you remain in surroundings that echo it back to you, those surroundings become proof. And when your surroundings clash with who you know yourself to be, you have only 3 honest choices. Change the environment, change yourself, or leave. And the third thing is your associations, the people you spend time with. There is an old truth that says 2 people in close contact, over time, begin to resemble each other, not only in how they think, but eventually even in how they speak and move. So choose closely. Spend your time near the people whose qualities you'd be glad to catch, because you will catch them. Now, before we can build a stronger self-image, we have to be honest about the signs of a weak one. Listen gently here, not to judge yourself, but to see yourself clearly. There is freedom in simply naming a thing. The first sign is blame. Handing responsibility for your life to someone else. It feels like relief, but it is a trap. Because whatever you cannot take responsibility for, you cannot change. And whatever you refuse to grow through, you will simply go through, again and again. The second sign is running. When a hard thing appears, there are only a few ways to meet it. You can flee it, fight it, ignore it, or face it. It is only in facing your challenges, treating them as something to be completed rather than escaped, that your confidence actually grows. The third sign is constant criticism of others. When the criticism doesn't come from care, when it isn't meant to lift someone up, it usually comes from something aching inside, from envy, or from a quiet feeling of not being enough. And it wounds the one who gives it as much as the one who receives it. The fourth sign is waiting. Waiting for someone else to solve what is yours to solve. Every time you wait to be rescued, you quietly hand away your own chance to grow. And the fifth sign is pretending. Telling yourself everything is fine when it isn't. Because a problem left alone doesn't stay the same. It grows. Take a breath. None of this is meant to weigh you down. It's meant to be a mirror held up gently so you can see what's really there. And here is the turn. The good news at the center of this first law. The picture can be repainted. You are not only the artist, you are also the painting. And you can pick up the brush at any time. So let me leave you with a few of the ways a person rebuilds the picture they hold of themselves. Be honest with yourself. Don't pretend the weeds aren't there while you plant new flowers, or one day you'll look up and find the weeds have taken the whole garden. Develop your imagination, because your imagination is the blueprint of everything that hasn't happened yet. If you can see it clearly, you have already taken the first step toward becoming it. Learn to truly rest, not collapse. Rest. In genuine stillness, you reach a deeper part of your own mind, and you replenish what the world spends. Grow from your mistakes instead of hiding them. No one has ever done anything worthwhile without failing along the way. A mistake is only a lesson wearing a disguise. Take off the mask. The face you wear to please other people costs you the very thing underneath it, the real you. And the moment the mask comes off, something heavy lifts, and you can finally begin the honest work of becoming who you are, and never stop growing. The day a person decides they've arrived is the day they begin, quietly, to fade. Life is movement. Keep moving. So this is the first law. Your life takes its shape from your thoughts, especially the thoughts you hold about yourself, and especially the feelings living underneath them. Change the picture, and slowly, surely, you change the life. But that raises a question, doesn't it? Can the picture really change? If so much of it was set so early, can any of us truly become someone new? That question is exactly where the second law begins. You are not locked in. Whatever your life looks like right now, whatever circumstances surround you, whatever situation you find yourself inside of, none of it is a sentence. None of it is permanent. You do not have to stay where you are. That is the whole promise of the second law. If the first law says your life is shaped by your thinking, the second law says this: your thinking can be changed, and so your life can be changed with it. Take those two together, and hold them. The life you are living right now grew out of the way you have been thinking. And the life you're living right now can be transformed the moment you begin to renew your mind. You've probably noticed that some people seem to succeed no matter what's happening around them. It doesn't seem to matter which way the economy is turning or what the news is saying. They keep their attention fixed on what they intend to create, and somehow that's what tends to arrive. That isn't luck. That's a mind kept steady on purpose. So how does real change happen? It rests on three things: faith, choice, and desire. Let's take them slowly. The first is faith. Faith is a firm trust in something you cannot yet see. It's belief with the doubt taken out. And here is why it comes first. Before your life can change, you have to believe that change is even possible. No matter how heavy your situation feels, no matter how completely it seems to close in around you, if you can hold the belief that something better exists for you and that you are meant for it, then you have already taken the first real step toward reaching it. But the reverse is just as true. If somewhere inside you believe your life cannot get better, then you are right, and it won't. Not because the world forbids it, but because you will stop reaching. So the faith has to come first. Not as a feeling that arrives on its own, but as a decision you make on purpose. You choose to trust that you are meant for more. Sit with that a moment. Whatever it is you want to change, do you actually believe it can change? Be honest, because that belief is the ground everything else stands on. The second thing change rests on is choice. Every opportunity, every difficulty, every crossroads places a choice in front of you, a way forward that lifts you and a way that pulls you down. And here is the part people forget. If you make no choice at all, a choice still gets made for you, and left to drift, it usually drifts toward the harder road. So, to change your life, you have to do something quietly difficult. You have to decide specifically what a better life actually means to you. Not vaguely, not someday, clearly. And then you have to choose it, and choose the new way of thinking and acting that leads toward it. There's an old story about a young man who took everything he had and wasted it, and ended up with nothing, hungry, working a job he hated, at the very bottom of his life. And the turning point in the story isn't when his circumstances change. It's a single line, the moment he comes back to himself, the moment he remembers who he actually is. And once he remembers, he makes a choice. He decides to rise and to go home. He could have chosen to stay in the mud. He chose to get up, and everything that followed flowed from that one decision. You always have that choice, to remember who you are and to rise. The third thing change rests on is desire, not a wish, not a preference. Desire, the deep, burning kind. There's a story about a student who asked his teacher what deep desire really meant. The teacher walked him out into the sea, up to his chest in the water, and without warning, held the young man's head beneath the surface. He held him there as the student struggled, until his body had nearly given out, and only then lifted him up, gasping, into the air. And the teacher said, "When you want the change in your life as badly as you just wanted that breath, that is deep desire. That is the wanting that actually moves a life. So ask yourself, quietly, do you want it that much? Because if the desire is real enough, if it burns hot enough, then nothing and no one will be able to stop you." Faith gives you the belief. Choice sets the direction. And desire is the fire that carries you the whole way. Now, if it's really this simple, why doesn't everyone change? Why do so many people know exactly what they need to do and still never do it? The answer is one word: fear. And it helps to see fear for what it usually is. So much of the fear that stops us is false evidence, appearing real. A story we've told ourselves so many times it started to look like a fact. 3 fears especially keep people frozen. The first is the fear of change itself, the fear of the unknown. People say they want a different life while quietly doing everything they can to keep everything exactly as it is, because at least the familiar is safe. You move through this one with faith, by trusting that you can meet whatever the new life brings. The second is the fear of criticism. This one is quiet and corrosive. The fear of what others will say robs you of your nerve and smothers your imagination before it can breathe. And the way through it is discernment. Not all criticism is equal. When it comes from someone who has actually done the thing you're attempting, someone who cares about you, then listen closely and adjust. But when it comes from someone who has never tried, someone speaking out of their own frustration, let it pass through you and keep walking. Notice this. No one ever built a monument to a critic. The monuments are for the ones who dared to do the thing. And the third is the fear of failure. This is the fear that keeps you from ever beginning, and it usually wears the mask of not yet. It's too soon, it's too late, the timing isn't right. But hear this. To fail at something means you were trying. Failure is only a rehearsal for success. Think of the inventor who was asked how he kept going after thousands of failed attempts, and who answered that he hadn't failed at all. He had simply discovered thousands of ways that would not work, each one bringing him closer to the way that would. Your attitude toward failure quietly decides your capacity for success. Anyone who has never failed at anything has almost certainly never truly succeeded at anything either. So this is the second law. Your life can change the moment your thinking changes. It asks three things of you: the faith to believe it's possible, the choice to pursue it, and the desire strong enough to carry you through the fear. Take a slow breath here. You've traveled a good way already. You know now that your life is shaped by your thinking, and that your thinking can be renewed. But change needs a direction. Faith and desire and courage are engines, and an engine with no destination just burns. So the question becomes, where exactly are you going? That is the third law. Where there is no vision, a person slowly withers, not dramatically, quietly. A life without a clear sense of where it's headed drifts and settles and loses its flavor. So this third law is about the destination, about seeing in vivid detail the life you actually want to live. And here, the word see matters. Your vision cannot be a vague wish, a soft blur of, "I'd like things to be better." It has to be crystal clear in your mind, detailed enough that you can almost reach out and touch it. You should be able to sense how that life looks, how it sounds, how it feels to live inside of it. Because when you make your vision that real, that alive in your senses, you charge it with feeling. And feeling, as you learned in the first law, is what pulls a thing into being. The law of vision has two sides to it. The first is specificity. The second is imagination. Let's begin with specificity, with getting clear. There's an old instruction. Write the vision down and make it plain. Write it so clearly that anyone reading it could understand exactly where you're going. Because a target you can actually see is far easier to hit than one you can only vaguely feel is out there somewhere. And the way you make a vision specific is through goals. A goal is simply a stepping stone, one clear, reachable place along the path toward the larger vision. You define the life you want, and then you lay down the specific stones that will carry you there. And there's a gift hidden inside this. Every time you set a goal and actually reach it, you prove something to yourself. You show yourself, with evidence, that you are capable. And each time you do, your confidence grows a little stronger, and a stronger confidence lets you reach for harder things. It builds on itself. So become someone who lives by goals, not by pressure, but by direction. Goals come in three ranges. There are the immediate ones, the near stones, the things you can accomplish soon, within days or weeks or a few short months. There are the intermediate ones, the mid-distance goals that take real planning and usually require you to complete a whole series of smaller steps first. And there are the long-range ones, the goals tied to your life's work, the ones that may take years, sometimes a lifetime, and that give the whole journey its meaning. The small stones lead to the middle stones. The middle stones lead to the far horizon. That's how a life gets built, one reachable step at a time. Now, a goal isn't just a wish written down. A strong goal has certain qualities, and it's worth knowing them. A good goal is written down, committed to, and shared with the right person. Writing it makes it real and forces it to become clear. Committing to it means deciding that nothing will stop you. And sharing it carefully, only with someone who genuinely wants you to win, never with those who'll quietly root against you, gives you both encouragement and accountability. A good goal is realistic, not small, but honest about where you're starting from. No goal is impossible, but some are simply unrealistic for this exact moment, and choosing those is a quiet way of setting yourself up to fail. A good goal is flexible. As you move toward it, life will throw things in your path you couldn't have predicted. When that happens, you don't abandon the goal. You adjust the route. You bend without breaking. A good goal is concrete and measurable. You should be able to describe it through your senses, and you should be able to know when you've reached it. A goal you can't measure is like setting out on a journey with no destination. You travel and travel, but you never arrive. A good goal has a time frame. A deadline gives you a way to measure your pace, to know whether to push harder or adjust the plan. And a good goal is set in advance, decided before you begin. Because only then can you actually make a plan and take real steps toward it. Now, as your long-range goals begin to gather together, something larger starts to appear behind them. A bigger picture, and that bigger picture is your purpose. Slow down with me here, because this is the heart of the whole thing. Your purpose is what you want your life to mean. It's the thread running through all your longest goals. It's your reason for rising in the morning. And like a compass on a ship, it guides you when everything else has gone dark and you can't see the shore. No one can hand you your purpose. No one can choose it for you. It's yours alone to find. And notice, your purpose isn't measured by how long you live. It's measured by what you give. Not the length of the life, but the contribution the life makes. Some of the people who changed the world most deeply were here only a short time. What matters is that you live in such a way that the good of your life outlasts your life. So how do you find it? You ask yourself the honest questions, and you don't flinch from the answers. Am I the person I actually want to be? Am I living a life that means something? What am I doing to make my dreams real? What is the contribution only I can make? What do I want my life to stand for? Sit with those. Not right now. You're resting now, but soon. Take them somewhere quiet and answer them slowly and truthfully. Because once you can say what your life is for, you can finally set the goals that lead there, and everything begins to line up. And a true purpose has a certain shape to it. It reaches for the highest and best, not merely what's easy. It sees beyond the horizon, past what seems realistic to everyone around you. It lasts a lifetime, even if how you understand it deepens as you grow. It reaches beyond just you. A purpose that serves only yourself isn't really a purpose at all. It's just a personal goal. A real one always touches other lives and lifts them. It stretches you, keeps challenging your faith and your ability. It sets you on fire so that you think about it and talk about it and act on it without having to be pushed. And it's worthwhile. It answers a real need in the world. When your purpose does that, the world itself seems to lean in and help you carry it. Now, for the second side of vision, imagination. Imagination is your power to form a picture of something that isn't here yet. And it is not a small or childish thing. One of the greatest minds who ever lived said that imagination matters even more than knowledge, because knowledge is limited to what already is, while imagination reaches out and embraces everything that could be. Your imagination is the bridge between who you are now and who you could become. It lets you look past the appearance of your present situation, past the walls that seem to hem you in, toward the fuller truth of what's possible for you. And here's how you use it. You bring yourself into stillness. You find a quiet place. Close your eyes. Let your breathing slow, the same rested state you may be resting in right now. And from that calm place, you build the picture. You see the life you want in as much detail as you can, engaging every sense. And at first it takes effort, But with practice, the images sharpen and ideas begin to flow, quiet inspirations rising up from somewhere deeper than your thinking mind. Learn to catch those. Learn to write them down and act on them. Because whatever your mind can truly conceive and truly believe, it can find a way to achieve. And you can strengthen this power the same way you strengthen anything. You feed your mind by reading, real reading, the kind that stretches your thinking and challenges what you already believe. You practice seeing your goals in your mind's eye until it becomes natural. You build your power of concentration, learning to hold your attention steadily on one thing instead of letting it scatter. And you learn to govern your moods, so that discouragement and doubt and restlessness don't run the show, because those are the very things that quietly sabotage a vision before it can take root. There are 3 simple keys to a more creative mind, and they're worth carrying with you. First, believe it can be done, because the moment you believe something is possible, your mind quietly sets to work, finding the way. Second, take the word impossible out of your vocabulary, because the instant you call something impossible, your mind stops looking and busies itself proving you right. And third, stay open to new ideas. Don't just hear them, but truly listen and turn them over and ask how they might serve you. So this is the third law. See the life you want with total clarity. Break that vision into goals, clear, honest, measurable steps. Let your long-range goals reveal the deeper purpose beneath them, the meaning your life is here to carry. And use your imagination again and again to keep the picture bright and alive until it begins to take form in the world around you. Let's gather the 3 of them together now, one last time before we finish. Keep your eyes closed if they are. Keep your breathing soft. The first law, thought. Your life takes its shape from what you think, and even more, from what you feel beneath what you think. And the deepest thought of all is the one you hold about yourself. Tend that picture. Rebuild it if you must. Everything grows out of that ground. The second law, change. You are not locked into any of it. The moment your thinking begins to change, your life begins to change with it. It asks 3 things: the faith to believe a better life is possible, the choice to pursue it, and the desire strong enough to carry you through your fear. And the third law, vision. Change needs somewhere to go. So see the life you want clearly and completely. Break it into honest goals. Let those goals reveal the purpose beneath them. And keep the vision alive in your imagination until the world begins to reshape itself around it. Thought, change, vision, the way a life is quietly, deliberately built. You don't have to carry all of this at once. You don't have to change everything by morning. Just let one of these settle into you, whichever one landed most deeply, and let it begin its quiet work. Take one more slow breath now, in and out. Whenever you're ready, come gently back. Carry a little of this stillness with you into the rest of your day. And remember, the life you're building begins always with a single thought. You answer to no one. Rest well and begin.